This is horrible, you are biased, I couldn't even finish the video, trash.
Why are you crying?
Welcome back, y'all. Long time no see. I had a good break. I hope y'all did too. We're gonna get back into this with the surprise album from Kendrick Lamar. I'm sure most of y'all have heard it by now. After all, this is a channel that blew up from the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef. There's also been another development, a certain legal matter taking place right now as we speak. Not that one, not that one. This one is between Drake and UMG. I'm gonna go ahead and give my thoughts on both of those topics, and definitely feel free to let me know what you think down below. Before we get into it though, there is something that I need to address. Some of you think I'm a bit biased in favor of Kendrick Lamar, and you know what? You're right. I've got an ulterior motive. You see, I used to like Drake, and then during this beef, he said something that I didn't like very much. And yes, they were addressed towards Kendrick, but I got offended just hearing them. Let me cut to the chase. We both short niggas, all right? I was biased the whole time, you caught me. Ever since he started with the short jokes, I've been waiting on the day to bury this nigga. Obviously, this is all satire. Let's get into the actual video. Okay, so first up, the album GNX. If you like Kendrick Lamar talking his shit, then you're gonna like this album. I really like this album. It feels complete. I'm glad it doesn't feel rushed. He's got great instrumentals on here. The features are good. 2024 is undeniably Kendrick Lamar's year in more ways than one. There is no way we're going to go into 2025, 2026, even probably 2030 and not talk about this year. Now, apparently, I'm on the opposite spectrum of everyone else. Everyone's talking about how they don't like GNX.
14, ride mini bikes with some dead friends. 21, flag on my head like a Taliban.
I love GNX. I don't see how you could like West Coast, really like LA music, and not like GNX. That's GNX the song, by the way. GNX, Peekaboo, especially.
Pickable, I just put them bookers in my chain. Pickable, 80 pointers like a Kobe game. Pickable, 7.62s will make them plain.
Dodger Blue is a beautiful synth-driven melodic beat that I can really vibe to.
Bitch, I'm from the land. Don't say you hate LA when you don't travel past the 10. Am I tripping? Yes, I am.
Whacked out murals, squabble up. How could you not like them? I saw some people exposing themselves by saying they don't like Luther. How do you not like a Luther Vandross sample, bro? Small red, small red. Everyone's got their way into hip hop, but I truly believe if you don't like R&B as a genre, specifically 70s to 90s R&B, then you can never really have a respect for hip hop fully. Because that's where we get these samples from, man. That is where we get a lot of this culture from. Like before there was rap music, it was R&B, it was soul, rock and roll. That's where all this stuff came from. You don't like Luther Vandross? If you don't know the importance of playing Dancing with My Father at a funeral, I mean, I don't know. The people who know what I'm saying, know what I'm saying. But yeah, am I forgetting any other songs? I swear there was another song that was pretty big. Of course, TV Off. What are we talking about? I think this album was pretty good. Do I think it was his magnum opus, the second coming of Kendrick Lamar? No, I don't think all that. I think it was a very good album. I think it was a nice cherry on top to the year that silenced a lot of things because they were talking about how he doesn't put on LA artists. He's showing y'all, but he's been showing y'all. Y'all just being willfully ignorant at this point. And by y'all, I mean Drake stans. Because there was never a doubt in my mind that this man was not from where he said he was from, or rather implied where he was from. I also want to talk about the fact that Kendrick just completely ignored Drake's The Hard Part 6. Just rewrote that shit like a new saved game. So let's talk a little bit about this lawsuit. Really a petition. Either way, he went to court. He's bringing this to court. Okay, this is from BBC. Drake has launched a legal action against Universal Music, accusing the label of artificially boosting streams of Kendrick Lamar's diss track against him, Not Like Us. In papers filed in New York, Drake's company, Frozen Moments LLC, accused Universal and streaming giant Spotify of engaging in an illegal scheme involving bots, payola, and other methods to promote Lamar's song. Universal Music did not rely on chance, Drake's lawyers alleged, and instead launched a campaign to manipulate and saturate the streaming services and airwaves, unquote. Quote, a spokesperson for Universal called the claims offensive and untrue, adding that fans choose the music they want to hear. Now let's stop right there real quick. Now, I want everyone to keep in mind that two things can be true at one time. I think the overall goal for what Drake is doing is to be a bitch. This is what kids do when they can no longer take advantage of the rules of the game. Because let's not be obtuse here. The industry at large uses bots to inflate their numbers. I think I said it bar for bar that when an artist is about to sign a new deal, it makes sense to inflate your numbers. That way, when you sign a new deal, you can get a larger bag.
You don't want labels thinking that you're falling off around the time your contract renews, so you get some bots. Or you could be a label that wants to sell exclusive rights to a streaming service, so you want to inflate the artist, the creator's numbers, so you can get paid more for that exclusive deal. Or you could be a streaming service that wants to convince labels and artists that their core audience is largely on their platform to negotiate the opposite side of said deal, the previous deal.
Drake's argument is not built on the idea of Drake never using these services. Instead, what he's arguing is it was specifically used against him so that Universal Music Group could lower what they're paying him or not give him what he's asking for. For example, I don't think anyone's going to argue against the fact that Drake does numbers, used to do numbers. He's a very large artist. Leading up to these past couple years, we've heard the whispers about Drake re-signing a deal, selling off his masters, stuff like that. So when you have this giant artist coming to you and saying, hey, I want this amount of money, and they have all of this history to back it up that they can pay you back with that, can pay you back and then some, but you just don't want to pay them. You just don't like them. So instead of giving him what he asked for, here's what we'll do. We'll artificially inflate someone else's numbers. That way, when you come and renegotiate, I can say, hey, you are not the largest artist on Universal Music Group. It's not you. So we're not paying you all that money. He's saying they're trying to take power away from him by propping up Kendrick Lamar in this beef. Now, could that be true? It could be true. Could it not be true? It could also not be true. I don't know, and I'm not going to say with 100% certainty that it is or isn't. Depending on which color rag you got on the Drake rag, or you got on the Kendrick rag, you are going to believe one thing 100%. So, what I believe personally is that it's a very high possibility that both of these things, what the fuck was that? It's a very high possibility that both of these things are true. Drake could be very salty that he lost this beef. I think that this was the thing that he was hoping on, pushing him to get that pay that he was talking, or to get that pay that he was wanting from UMG. And when it didn't work out in his favor, now he's going to roof the ball. Say you're playing football, you can be playing any sport, and there's a kid who has a ball, and when he loses, instead of being, a good loser, he'll say, well, no one's playing anymore. I'm just going to throw this ball on the roof. So it was all good when Drake was getting all the streams and the accolades, talking about he's better than Michael Jackson. Crazy. But now that Kendrick Lamar is possibly using bots, and if this was true, then he would have to admit that it's not Kendrick Lamar using bots, it's UMG using bots. He doesn't want to play the game anymore, which, by the way, is not the determining factor for the winner of the beef. Numbers only mattered to Drake fans and stans. Kendrick Lamar has never been a numbers guy. No one's ever talked about. No one say, oh, Kendrick Lamar sold 300. No one cares about that. It's academics and Drake talking about that. If you don't like the song, you're simply not going to play it. And I have seen more people listen to Kendrick Lamar's songs recently than Drake's songs. Drake is not hitting at all. And that's not just because he's not being promoted. The songs are just not, they're not Draking, okay? And this comes from a person who liked Drake. I will die on this hill. I don't care what any hip hop head has to say about it, because I'm not trying to impress anybody, okay? I like Take Care. Take Care is in my top 10 albums of all time, but that's because I was a high schooler when it came out. And that's a very important part of my childhood and growing up. And unfortunately, I have to come to terms with maybe I like that album because he was possibly singing about women the same age as the girls I was going to school with. That was a joke, by the way. That was a joke. That's not real. But if you want to hear more about Drake's lawsuits, yes, plural lawsuits, because he did a second action against Universal. Where's that comment? Where's that comment that was saying that I was crazy about Drake suing somebody for defamation? But yes, if you are being called a pedophile, I would suggest that you take immediate legal action, because if you're not going to get down any other way, if you're not going to clear it up on a live or something like that, this is pretty much the only way. You don't go make a song about how you're not a pedophile. That's not going to go well. And it didn't go well. What you should have done, and I stand on this, what you should have done, if that was incorrect, we were in a different time. Don't go back and forth shooting people, beating people up, unless you really like that. You should have immediately filed an action, said, hey, this is going too far. I'm not a pedophile, legally. That way they can look into it and you can be proved innocent. But here we are months later and I'm correct. Get used to it. It happens a lot. Again, this is against Universal and not Kendrick Lamar directly. He's basically saying that they should have stepped in and not let him say those lyrics about him when they knew it wasn't true. I mean, they don't be stopping y'all from saying y'all gangsters when they know it's not true. I think it's a slippery slope. Tell me what y'all think below. I'm glad I'm back. I will be posting more once again. I hope y'all had a happy Thanksgiving if y'all celebrate. And if you don't, I hope you had a wonderful day and at least got the day off. Y'all have a wonderful day, man. I just want to let y'all know I appreciate y'all. Y'all be safe. One last time, shout out to the short niggas. People 5'10" and below. I was always the shortest male cousin in my family. And then when my little cousin was born, I thought I had a chance, so we used to hang out a whole bunch. And when I moved back to Texas, the next time I saw him, that nigga was 6'5".
Oh my God.